There's zero doubt in my mind that Breath of the Wild will be a successful title. First, it has the Zelda moniker to generate the hype, and despite its differences from past installments, it also seems to somehow be the ultimate culmination of everything Zelda, and a sort of return to roots for the series. But there is one way that Breath of the Wild will be a success, and I'm not talking about sales figures and its Metacritic scores. I'm talking about it being successful in what this game has set out to do, what the intentions and goals behind its development were, and how that success will impact the game.
Hello everybody, watching Nintendo Direct. I'm Eiji Aonuma, the producer of The Legend of Zelda. ゼルダの25周年を皆さんと一緒にお祝いさせていただいたのは、ついこの間のような気がしていたのですが、あれからもう1年も経っているのですね。
In a Nintendo Direct back in 2013, Eiji Aonuma, the producer of the Legend of Zelda series, made his first mention of working on a new title. Although it seems from his statements that it had been in development for some time already, they did not have any visuals to show yet. So instead, he told us what his own goals were for this game: to rethink the conventions of Zelda. This is a running theme in all things Breath of the Wild, and something we hear Aonuma talk about over the years frequently. Breaking these conventions seems to be very important to what Breath of the Wild's success rests on. Specifically though, in this direct he mentions the expectations that there is a particular order in which you must complete the dungeons, and that Zelda must be a single-player experience. Now we got a taste of these conventions being broken with the 3DS titles A Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes, respectively, but this isn't the end of Aonuma's ambitions for this game. The next year we get this explanation about the very nature of Zelda's open world. Where in the first Legend of Zelda we could explore the entire world scrolling in all four directions, this feeling is harder to recreate with new hardware. Specifically, he mentions that in the Wind Waker they created small bounded areas that, when connected, give the illusion of one large open world. Although the Wind Waker is not really the best example of this limitation, as for the most part the game is pretty seamless. However, there are physical boundaries like high walls and cliffs. But really, if you look at Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, just play one of these games and watch for every moment when the screen fades away to load a separate area. For the most part, the Wind Waker doesn't have these cutaways, except going through doors into buildings or dungeons. But in the main open world, we get a fairly seamless experience. But in these other games, they are everywhere. Walk down a path into a small bounded area and explore there, then walk down the path to the next small bounded area. Now, the original Legend of Zelda on NES had this too, despite it being his example of a sprawling open world. Every screen would have this slow scrolling transition between tiles on the map. But overall, the feeling of exploration is there, and this feeling is aided by the non-linearity of the dungeons. So Aonuma made a goal for the Zelda dev team to create a large, seamless world with no boundaries.
This is the new world of Zelda. It's quite a vast world, isn't it?
But if we've already seen this sort of seamless world in the Wind Waker, then how will this be different? I mean, we already know that there will be loading screens between entering and exiting the various shrines. Well, just watch this. Did you see it? This is gameplay, then this is the cutscene, and then at the end of the cutscene, it cuts right back to the gameplay again without a fade to black. No cutout, no fade, this is just a seamless, perfect transition between gameplay and cutscene with no interruptions. But that's just a nice touch in my opinion. There's more than just a transition to cutscene and a huge open world that sets this game apart from those of the past. The real removal of boundaries comes in the form of Link's climbing ability. Any surface that isn't ultra smooth, which from what we've seen is basically just the walls inside of the shrines, is climbable by Link. The only boundary here now is Link's stamina, which we hear will be upgradable. This has a huge effect on the nature of this game's world. Consider how in the past the game world has been open, but areas are bounded by high walls or cliffs, or as Aonuma says,
a defined entrance and exit.
Consider how in past games, in order to carve out a set path for the player to follow, they literally have a path carved into the ground. But with Breath of the Wild, even if these paths exist, there will be nothing to stop the player from going on outside of these areas. This world is huge and teeming with the most life we've seen yet in Hyrule, and every area is connected without a defined entrance and exit. This world is real, vibrant, and living. Despite the delays and long droughts of information, it seems to me that this game will mark not only a financial and critical success, but a more deeply rooted personal success for Eiji Aonuma. And I'm curious to see what sort of impact that will have on future games in the series. It will be difficult to outdo this game in its version of Hyrule, but that said, I hope that means in the future we will continue to see him dedicated to delivering us great and unique games for our favorite series.
As far as what you can do with such a vast field to explore, as soon as those boundaries are removed, it means you can enter any area from any direction. So the puzzle solving in this game begins the moment the player starts to think about where they want to go, how they will get there, and what they will do when they arrive. This is a clean break from the conventions of past games in the Zelda series, where you had to follow a set path and play through the scenario in the right order. I believe this departure will create opportunities for new gameplay that have not been experienced in previous Zelda games.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching this video and listening to me talk. If you're itching for more Zelda content, then you should subscribe to Zelda Informer here on YouTube to get your fix on Zelda content every single week. Or if you want to see some content right now, then go ahead and check out the video here on the left to watch my theory video on my own channel about Breath of the Wild's timeline placement. Or you could check out the video on right here and listen to me gush about Majora's Mask and why I love that game so much. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.